I got a call recently from our friend Sam Sorbo. She was telling me about a fantastic new film on homeschooling called Schoolhouse Rocked. And actually, I'd had the opportunity to meet Yvette Hampton, the producer, at the NRB conference. And that opened the door for me to be able to watch the film in advance before it was released. And I'll tell you, it is fantastic. I'm a homeschool dad, and I was very impressed. So we invited Yvette into the Economic War Room to help introduce this movie to you. Welcome, Yvette.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here with you.
Now, how did you get into the film business and the homeschool business and bring them together?
Well, it was taking my husband and myself and really coupling those two things together. He worked in the Hollywood film industry for many, many years. We're from Los Angeles. And then we are a homeschool family. We've always homeschooled our girls. And so about 5 years ago, the Lord just took his gift and talent for filmmaking and our passion as a family for home education and coupled those things together. And that's how Schoolhouse Rocked was born.
You know, when we started homeschooling, and I've got 2 daughters in college now, it was almost unheard of. We met Mike Ferris, and Mike said, oh, you've got to do this. And so we researched it, but it wasn't easy. It was very hard 20 plus years ago. But lots now of people are switching over because they were forced to educate their students at home, and now they see it can be done.
Yeah. It's so interesting because we started filming this movie, like I said, 5 years ago before even COVID hit. And it's been incredible to just watch the influx of new families coming into homeschooling who didn't think that they ever could do this. And now, it's almost as if their hand is being forced. And it's so neat to see God's perfect time for this movie because now parents' eyes and hearts and minds are open to this idea of taking control of their kids' education, really, and upbringing.
Yeah, I love the way that you wove it together. I love the title. I mean, I remember the Schoolhouse Rocked, I'm Just a Bill and all that. You're talking about Schoolhouse being rocked. What's the central message of this movie?
Really, the central message is there are a couple. One is to debunk all of the misconceptions and negative stereotypes that people have about homeschooling, and really to bring hope and encouragement to the homeschool parent, especially the homeschool mom, because typically mom is the one who's at home doing, the legwork, but not always. Oftentimes dads are part of it as well. But pretty much every mom that we've ever met, myself included, feels completely inadequate and ill-equipped to teach our kids because we've bought into all of the lies of society that we can't do this. We have to send our kids off to school to be trained by the experts who have gone to college to teach our kids. And in reality, God's given us everything we need in order to educate our kids at home. So it's really to open up the eyes of parents to help them to see that this really is the best option for their kids and that they have everything that they need in order to teach their kids at home. So we really want to debunk all of those misconceptions and then just bring really hope and encouragement and open up parents' eyes through home education.
Well, as my wife and I were partners in this, she did the bulk of the teaching when we were homeschooling. But I had my subjects and I was the principal. And when the kids, crossed the line a little bit, they had to go see the principal, and that was my job. But I want to encourage every dad, get involved in the education of your kids. It makes such a huge difference and builds that relationship that you can never get anywhere else.
Right. It's so important even for dads to simply encourage their wives and support them if they're not involved in the actual academics, just for them to come alongside their wives and ask how they can support them and how they can encourage that. And we talk about that in the film as well. Well,
you've talked to a lot of the experts and then you talked to ordinary people and you really dove into it. Did you learn anything that was surprising about homeschooling as a filmmaker?
Actually, it kind of goes back to that first question. One of the things that I learned, because I felt like I was very alone in the idea that I felt inadequate to teach my kids. And as we were talking to, we traveled the nation. And so as we were talking to parents all across the nation, we discovered that pretty much every mom feels that same way. And so it just validated even more that this film needed to be out. It needs to be in the hands of parents who just need that hope and in that encouragement.
Yeah, and you did a great job. And your trailer does a good job too. I want to encourage everybody to watch it. In fact, let's roll the trailer so people can see just what's in this film.
You're not inadequate. You are perfectly capable. What is it about a parent that when their child turns 5, all of a sudden the parent's no longer a viable option? Like, oh, you're done. Now it's the school's turn.
I think the quality of education has steadily deteriorated in America. There is an agenda to steal our children.
You feel inadequate because you've been taught by our school system that you're inadequate.
We had no frame of reference for homeschooling other than it just seemed like torture. Like, why would a sane woman choose to be locked up with her kids for 18 years in a row when a school bus would come and take them away and give you like a 9-hour break every day?
No one knows your child better than you do, and no one loves your child more than you do.
And homeschooling changes the game on everything. Homeschooling allows us to say to the child, what sort of life do you want? What sort of God-given dreams, talents, and abilities is he speaking into you?
When we think about classroom education and we ask what makes for good education, almost every professional educator will say low student-teacher ratio, teachers who care, good methods, good curriculum. Well, in homeschooling, you get the best of all of those things.
What we discovered is that it's very efficient to homeschool.
You have the person who knows the student the best. You have the ability to customize the curriculum around the student. You have a great student-teacher ratio.
And I realized I am accomplishing with Sierra in 25 minutes to an hour every day what is taking the school system 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to accomplish with my older daughter. I loved watching the light bulb come on and watching her want to sit down and read with me. And I loved spending time with her.
There are just so many benefits, including being able to have a relationship with your own children.
Continue doing what you're doing. Don't give up, because I do believe that homeschool moms are America's greatest heroes.
Yvette, that's great. You've shown that homeschooling is one way that you can circumvent the leftist education system. And this is so important if we're going to preserve our culture.
Right. That's right. You know, the film, we hit on the public schools and what's happening with indoctrination and all of that's going on in the public school system. But that's not what the whole movie's about. It's just, you know, every good story has to have a villain. And so in this film, the villain is the public school institutions. And it really is time for parents to take back the hearts and education of their children and bring them home and do this on their own. And they don't have to do it alone. I mean, there are so many great resources for them. And so, of course, the movie talks about that as well.
Well, there's no better way to be encouraged than to watch Schoolhouse Rocked. How can people get tickets and see the movie?
Go to our website at Schoolhouse Rocked, ROCKED, schoolhouserocked.com. And on there, just scroll down a little bit and you'll see the big blue button that says Get Tickets. And they can stream it to their homes. Or people can do a group showing as well. A lot of people are setting up group showings at their churches and co-ops and local theaters, places like that. And so you either have the option to show it in your home and have a watch party, you know, invite friends and family and neighbors to come into your home and watch it with them, make some brownies and bring them alongside you, or you can do it as a group showing. And all of that information is on the website at schoolhouserocked.com.
Well, I want to encourage all of the Tea Party groups, all of investment clubs, all the groups that watch this, Eagle Forums or whatever, Concerned Women for America. We need to understand this, because this is one of God's ways to help us take back our culture by properly educating our children. And I love your website, Yvette. I mean, you've got all kinds of resources there. In fact, the one that caught my eye was the free homeschool survival kit. Man, I wished I'd had that 15 years ago.
Yes, yeah, that is, we do offer a lot of resources, because we didn't want to just make the movie and say, okay, take your kids home, homeschool them, and then just leave everybody without the resources. And so we have the Homeschool Survival Kit. We have a podcast that airs weekly, 3 times a week. And we've got a blog. And so we really work to continue helping to support and encourage the homeschool community.
Well, thank you. Whether you're a first-time homeschooler, whether you've been forced into it because of the pandemic, or whether you're a long-term homeschooler and you just want to see that there's a whole community, this is a big trend in America, you need to watch Schoolhouse Rocked. So go to schoolhouserocked.com. Yvette, thank you. You've done a great service for parents and educators all across this country. God bless you.
Thank you so much. God bless you too.
All right, this is Kevin Freeman from the Economic War Room. Remember, what we see as a marketplace, our enemies view as a battle space. That's true in the school, too.